Yeah, well, I am, first of all, thank you. Thank you for sharing a piece of your person with me. And I am, as I said, I am humbled by what all you do. What you've been through, how you've dealt with it. And it's a strange thing when you're governor, everybody stands up all the time. Yeah. The First Lady and I have, from the very beginning of this great journey, we have been overwhelmed by the servants' hearts of the law enforcement heroes across the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that's why I have consistently reiterated that we are at a time where we need to see change. And it's change that starts with relationships. And so that's why I think we feel so compelled to make sure that we're here when we need to be here. Let me just first, I want to introduce your Secretary of Public Safety. And you may know this, but one of the things that was at the top of my criteria was I wanted a Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security who wore a badge. We haven't had one for a long time. And I felt like that perspective was what was most missing. Because decisions have to be made every day on bills we should support, on regulations, on responding. And I wanted someone who had a career in law enforcement, wore a badge, working with me. And so Sheriff Mosier said yes. So I just want to thank you for that, sir. You all know the importance of this program. Me telling you that it's important seems kind of silly in all candor. But when I began to learn about this program and the importance that it places on relationships, on communicating, on talking, on dealing with just tragic moments, we became very interested in this program. And so I know there's lots of people who run for office who talk about backing the blue. And I think all of you deserve a lot more than just words. I just think you do. And I think that's comprehensive. And so what I think about when it means backing the blue is multifaceted. Yes, and we'll talk about funding and legal reform in a second. And yes, it means standing up and leading by backing the blue. What it really means at the end of the day is respect. What it really means is a cultural change. And I think that's the opportunity we have in front of us right now. After what has been 2 years of the most challenging time I think our country has seen in a long, long, long time, one of the places we have to repair is the culture around law enforcement. And I think we have a moment we can do this. Earlier this morning, and this is why I was a few minutes late, was the First Lady and the Secretary and I attended the funeral of a fallen officer in Henrico County. And Officer Sutton was 24 years old. And he had an extraordinary life in front of him. He was engaged to be married in 2 months. His grandfather had told him to go chase his dream. So he left his job and did everything he could to be accepted into the training academy in Henrico County. A tragic thing happened. They were he and his training officer were transporting someone they had taken into custody, and they were going through an intersection with the green light, and a young man who was trying to get to the hospital ran a red light and killed him. His training officer is in critical condition, has an 18-month-old child, another one on the way, and this is what law enforcement signs up for. This is what you do. You sign up to put your life in the way for those that you pledge to serve and protect. And so this is a moment for us to simply say thank you. That's what it is. It's the third funeral I've been to in a short 2.5 months. And the secretary and I prayed after everyone, Lord, make this the last one. Lord, make this the last one. And I believe in my heart that we can make it the last one. But it is a heart-wrenching moment when you recognize that when you get the phone call late at night that there's been a tragedy and there's been a hero who was fallen in the line of duty. So it's reflective of the compact that each of you make. Each of you has signed up to protect and serve. Each of your families has signed up to protect and serve. And you do that with a clear recognition that you will disregard your own safety in order to put others in front of you. That's just an extraordinary statement. And so as citizens, not elected officials, but as citizens, we have an obligation on the other side of that compact. And the obligation on the other side of that compact is, in fact, to support you in what you do. A full range of support. You know, I think what we know that goes on here at Valeap is about mental health, which is health. All of it is health. Whether someone, in fact, suffers a physical injury or, in fact, suffers a mental scar, we, on the other side of this compact, are really committed to supporting you. What goes on here, as you know, is something that oftentimes is stigmatized. Help for mental health isn't something that we as a society are good at talking about. We have a crisis right now across the Commonwealth and across the country. And we are just now fully beginning to understand the extent of that crisis. And we don't talk about it. We don't acknowledge it. Then that stigmatism all of a sudden festers. And as if it festers, it gets worse. Just like the mental trauma that those who deal with it need to do, how they need to deal with it, which is talk about it, express it. I'm most encouraged by the fact that what happens here is about, as your t-shirt says, I think one of you says, cops helping cops. Law enforcement professionals understanding, because they've been there, what needs to be talked about. That's extraordinary. That's the first step, of course. Let's talk about it. And so I want to commend each and every one of you, even if you have been coerced to be here. Because once we start talking about it, then we get healthy. Being healthy is a major, major part of our support for you and the great promise you've made to protect and serve. I do think that human beings generally have this disposition to take stuff and pack it away. It's just kind of what we do. And we all know that when we pack away too much, it scars us. And if we don't deal with those scars, then all of a sudden the kinds of knock-on impact that has already been just mentioned in those three just most uplifting stories of finding health. But marriages suffer, relationships suffer. Oftentimes we see just the sad reality of a law enforcement hero taking his or her life. Anything we can do to stand in the way of that path, we've got to find a way to do. So thank you for your story. That is amazing. I want you to know that backing the blue is a lot more than a slogan. And it is at the top of our administrative list. And I'll just share with you a few thoughts. And the primary reason it's there is is yes, to recognize that the job you all perform is the hardest job in America. No doubt. There's none harder than the job you all do. What you have, the life you have chosen and volunteered to pursue is the toughest job in America. And I think we need to talk about that. Because I am so troubled, as I said at the beginning, by the political climate that has developed around these amazing heroes, you all, that have chosen to keep us safe. And what we've seen is critics of law enforcement, in fact, attempt to paint law enforcement with a broad brush. And one of the things I've done for the last year plus is spend a lot of time with law enforcement, with deputies, with police officers, with state troopers, listening. And I know beyond any reasonable doubt that there isn't anything that law enforcement hates more than a fellow officer who's not good at their job. And so for our society to have taken a moment where we're taking this broad brush, in my mind, is just so fundamentally wrong, and I reject it. Reject it. And so this is a chance for us to celebrate. To celebrate Valeap. To celebrate, and we will do this year, and I keep threatening it with the First Lady, we're going to write a book at the end of the year of all of the things that didn't happen because of the heroic work of first responders and law enforcement. And see, we see it. We see the things that didn't happen because of the preparation all of you go through. And so this is a chance for us to, I think, push hard to change culture. I also want to push hard, candidly, on our legislature. And I want you to know that so many of the things that we know we can do are this close to getting done. This close. Comprehensive funding to provide much needed raises for law enforcement. We've got to get this done. Funding, 599 funding for local police departments. A big fund that provides money for training and for equipment, $150 million. A commitment to fund community policing activities so that, in fact, relationships can be built before there's a law enforcement incident. A huge effort in order to bring together national, statewide, and local efforts in order to combat rising violence. We've got to get this done right now. And that's why I've been kind of unrelenting on the legislature to pass a budget, because we can't wait any longer. It's time. It's time. Because you all can't fight massive increases in violent crime. You can't fight increases in drug trafficking. You can't fight increases in gang activity. You can't fight increases in human trafficking without the resources to do it. So it's time. It's time to get this done. And so I am not going to rest until we get this done with our legislature, because you all deserve it. The reason why we're here today, candidly, is to celebrate this organization. At the beginning of my administration, I made a pledge that I would donate my salary. And one of the things we wanted to do was to highlight organizations that are making a difference with that process. And when we learned about Virginia Leap, it was absolutely the perfect organization to make our first donation to. And so that's why we're here. That's why we're here. I have to tell you, there's so many organizations around the Commonwealth of Virginia that are doing great things. And this organization ranks right up there at the top. And so I want to first thank the board of directors and the leadership here for stepping out after your experience at Virginia Tech and recognizing that what you all were dealing with affected all of your colleagues. And so thank you for being visionaries, and thank you for being committed, and thank you for not being inhibited. And I want to also recognize the fact that when we in fact see something we need to get done, we collectively come together, there is no stopping us. No stopping us. And that's why I'm so excited about this organization. So, thank you. Thank you for serving the officers in the field with innovation. Thank you for serving folks with your hearts and your passion. And so that's why I'm so supportive of this organization. And so the First Lady and I are excited, as I said, to make this first donation to Valeap. And so today we are going to donate $43,750. You guys, come on. If anybody wants to get in this picture, let me get it. If you want to get it, jump in. The secretary does. We go, ready?
I think you'd be a little taller.
Yeah. So, we're going to go Don't get lost. Thank you. I know it takes a lot more than that, but trust me, you've got two really good ambassadors in the First Lady. I mean, you've got a third-grade ambassador and the secretary, and we are going to continue to be ambassadors for this organization. So thank you for all that you do. And finally, let me just finish where I started. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for first loving the Commonwealth of Virginia. Anybody not from Virginia? Okay, good. Okay. I want to thank you for, you can move here, by the way. But I also want to thank you for your willingness to protect and serve. And when you recognize that there's a challenge in your own lives, that you came here and you actually took it head on. And I don't know many people who wear a badge that aren't willing to take this head on. And so thank you for that. Finally, just continue to ask for the Lord's blessing on this place, that He can bless everyone who is here. Bless the folks that are walking you through these just amazing seminars, and continue to surround all of you with His protection, that you continue to serve the Commonwealth of Virginia and other states as well. Thank you all very much. God bless you.